Hi there, it's Thursday 9th of October. I said I'd do a video today on mist and fog because there's not much change in the weather. It's a cloudier day today. We talked about cloud yesterday though, and how cloud forms when the air temperature and the dew point meet in the atmosphere and the water vapor suspended in the air condenses, thickens and forms a cloud layer. Today that cloud layer is thickening. You can see it on that line in the tephrogram from Valentia earlier on today. It's not terribly thick, so the sun could break through. I can see it's just struggling to break through, and especially as the day goes on, the sun gets higher in the sky, the more turbulence can break through that cloud layer and we might see some sunny spells developing. But anyway, there's no change in the forecast. High pressure dominating for the outlook period. Now on to mist and fog. So what's the difference between mist and fog? Fog is just thicker mist. It's a meteorological definition of when the visibility falls below a certain amount. We call mist fog. Mist is when the air can no longer hold the water vapor. So the air is made up of mostly nitrogen. I think it's 80% nitrogen. Then there's oxygen, carbon dioxide and water vapor and all inert gases, but won't talk about those. Water vapor is also a greenhouse gas, by the way. It's water, H2O, suspended as a gas in the air. So we don't see it, but it's there. It's always there. It's there all the time. When the air cools, the air will no longer hold the water vapor suspended as a gas, and the water vapor condenses like it does on your window in the inside. It condenses into a droplet, and that tiny droplet is suspended in the air. And when those suspended droplets multiply and become many, they thicken into what we call mist. So the visibility is reduced, and that's mist. When it thickens further and the visibility reduces further, it's then fog. So up in the sky, those clouds, basically it's just fog. It's water vapor suspended into, or that has condensed into water droplets, and they're still suspended in the air. When they become too heavy, of course, the water droplets all join together and fall as rain. But while they're at the surface, they're fog. Now, why do we get fog? We get fog when the air cools. So at this time of year, the length of day is shorter than the length of the night. So the heat is radiating out of the earth when it's dark and there's no sunshine radiating onto the earth. The heat is radiating out of the earth. So the air touching the earth cools from below, and that cooling allows the water vapor to then condense into water droplets. So that's why we get fog more at this time of the year, as we're heading from summer into autumn into winter. The nights are longer. There's more time radiating heat away from the earth than there is radiating heat into the earth. And the reason we get fog here in Ireland, and it's particularly foggy, is because we're surrounded by a warm ocean, and at this time of the year the water stays warm. It stays warm really out until the end of winter. You know, the nearly the start of spring is when the water is coldest around Ireland. So we're surrounded by this warmer water feeding up warm air over the country. It's cooled from below by the earth and the cold nights, and that's why we get the fog. And it can stay through the day. If a fog layer thickens deep enough into the atmosphere, it will stay all day, and that happens more likely into November. Now there's a different type of fog. That's sea fog, and I think particularly around southern coast, Waterford and Cork know well the problem with sea fog, and of course along any coastal areas will know sea fog. Sea fog is more of an early summer or late spring phenomenon, because we have warm air coming up from, let's say, the Bay of Biscay, and it's warm, but it's moving over the cold sea. So the sea is still cold in the spring. It's at its coldest, I think, in around March. So the sea is cold March, April, May, and you've got this warm air coming up from the Bay of Biscay, cooled from below, and then you've got sea fog. So sea fog is a summer and late spring, early summer phenomenon, and the fog that we're coming into now at this time of year, October, November, is over the land. So the land is cooling the warm air above us, and we get fog, radiation fog. And that's happening in October, November, and it can linger right through the day. That's a long video about fog, but that's fog. Oh, how do you clear fog? Clearing fog happens through the sun. If the sun breaks through and it radiates down, and then it'll burn off the fog. Cloud will also kill fog, because cloud is also radiating, so the cloud also kills fog. An increasing wind. Now you need a little bit of wind to make fog, because you need a little bit of mixing in the atmosphere at the boundary layer right at the surface. So mixed air, wind will clear fog. And two other things that are often forgotten. Advecting in drier air. So air masses move, and if you move an air mass that is drier across the area, that drier air will dry out the fog. Or advecting in warmer air. So again, moved air mass that is warmer, and the warmer air will hold more moisture as a water vapor. That will also clear fog. So there are 5 ways to clear fog. How do you predict when fog will form? Fog forms when the air temperature falls to a point where it can no longer hold water vapor. So we use the tephogram once again. We construct a fog point, and then we can predict at the temperature at which we expect fog to form. So dew forms when the air will no longer hold water vapor and the water droplets fall out of the earth onto the ground. That's dew. Fog forms at a slightly different temperature, and when the air will hold water vapor suspended. That's the fog point, so we construct that. When will it clear? It's a very difficult question, and we are looking then for any of those 5 points that will clear fog. That's how we can predict when fog will clear, or whether it won't clear, and whether it will linger all day long. I think I've just about covered everything. Why it forms, radiation fog and sea fog, and how you clear. Cloud, sun, wind, advecting warm air and advecting dry air. Any questions, as always, in the comments below. Slán go fóill.